Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Fighting the Void. Ginger is here again. We've got my friend Sam here to talk about being a centrist, but at least as important is my baby sister, Krystle, is back from her travels. She went to the Northwest hunting a Sasquatch. I hear she even brought one home with her.
Yes, I did.
Yes. And we probably won't see them, but if you see creepy shadows lurking in the background in like grainy, not quite legit photographic style, it might be the Sasquatch in question.
If you hear strange groaning, just don't think about it. It's fine.
Odd groanings, hairballs. We're going to ignore all of that. And don't worry, Krystle. But, you know, one thing I want to say to anyone who's watching right now and might be in the YouTube chat or, you know, on Twitter, which, by the way, Twitter at Fighting Void for the show. And Krystle is Krystle with 3 L's. And Sam, you're like Sam Slam Dunk with
Sam Slam Dunk I am.
Okay, there you go. So anyone who's on Twitter, first of all, follow everybody if you haven't. Second of all, if you're on Twitter or in the YouTube chat, make sure you ask Krystle about her feet. She loves it. It is her favorite thing.
Okay, so you're added to the murder list. I got my boyfriend, and now I got you.
Bring it.
I got you Sasquatch, dude. I brought home Sasquatch. I think I can take you.
Yeah, but the Sasquatch is on the list. Okay. So first, Krystle, it is awesome to have you back, first and foremost.
Yay, thank you.
Just not the same without my baby sister.
No.
And also, Sam. Sam, we've been talking on Twitter for a while.
Yes.
The three of us, really. And we're for those who want the background, we're a part of the same DM room that's was started by our mutual friend Kinsey Attacks, whom I had the pleasure of meeting a few months back. And in any case, we talk a lot of politics and stuff in the room. And Sam is this is not an oxymoron. He is an ardent centrist. And so we decided, you know, it would be cool to have Sam on to actually talk about, first of all, what does it mean by being a centrist? And secondly, how does one even try to navigate these waters in which, even if you're not trying to thread the needle, you're almost guaranteed to piss off people on both sides just by saying anything that isn't the other side is the devil. So, Sam, I guess first and foremost, let's start. What do you mean by being a centrist? What does that define that for us?
Well, my personal definition of being a centrist is kind of having a mixture of conservative and liberal views.
Okay.
I know that some people will say centrism is just your fence sitting, pretty much,
right.
And you won't pick a side.
Yeah. Well, it sounds to me you're the good. You've got the good definition of centrist.
Yes.
Bad definition of centrist is essentially somebody who doesn't have a lot of strong feelings about anything, but will wind up voting Democrat.
Yeah.
Because as soon as there is a strong feeling, if you're governed by feelings, that's probably where you're going to go.
Yes. And I really don't try and pick one party over the other, because I think, in my opinion, they're both equally bad when it comes to certain things like identity politics.
I'm not even going to disagree with that.
All right.
Because I draw a sharp line between conservatives and Republicans.
Yes.
For one. Yeah. Especially Republican politicians. Most Republican voters are actually fall somewhere on the conservative spectrum.
Yes.
Most Republican politicians, honestly, when it comes to their actions, are much closer to the progressive end of the spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I strongly dislike both parties. I dislike the Democrats because of what they say they believe in, but I think they actually believe it.
Yes.
For the most part. I dislike the Republicans because they say a whole bunch of stuff that I would like to agree with, but they don't really believe it.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel.
Yeah. So they basically act like the typical politician.
Yeah.
They say one thing, do another.
Yes.
Yes. And I would say when it comes to that, I'm going to actually say the Republicans are worse than the Democrats.
Yeah.
Because again, the Democrats at least believe more or less what they say. They may not do everything they say they're going to do, but they're going to move in that direction.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whereas if you've got Republicans, they're not even going to, 9 times out of 10, they're not even going to try to do what they say they're going to do. And usually, even if they start out good, they wind up going bad. I've mentioned, I think on this show before, that I think the 2016 election broke Ted Cruz.
Yeah. I
really do. And there's different opinions about Ben Sass right now. I think no matter how you voted on the whole thing about Trump's emergency declaration on the wall, I think you were guaranteed to piss off some part of the conservative base.
Yeah.
No matter how you voted. And that's one where honestly let's just say I see both sides of that particular argument.
Yes. Yeah.
But without getting into that, the latest I would say to just completely fall off the wagon, or at least to start to fall off the wagon, is Mike Lee with the paid family leave thing.
I don't think I know who that is.
You should. He's like next door to you, man.
Oh, is he in Colorado?
Yeah, no, not like next door. He's a senator in Utah.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah,
I think, or am I thinking of Sass? I think Lee's Utah.
Sass is Nebraska.
Okay, then Lee is Utah. Yes.
Okay, all right.
There's so many, I get them confused. But yeah, the paid. He started advocating for the paid family leave thing.
All right.
Which is essentially, you can go on paid family leave, and we're going to pay for it by taking money out of your Social Security account, but then you have to pay it back later.
Okay,
great. So, and I like Steve Deace, I think, put this best when he said, so what you're saying now is that the government is going to give you your money back to you so long as you spend it the way the government wants you to spend it, and then you have to pay your money back to the government.
That makes a lot of sense.
Give you your money.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, it's the biggest problem with it is that it's accepting the whole premise that it's the government's money.
Yeah. So basically, it's the government pays you, but then they expect you to pay them back.
Right. And we all know that that's not the way that's going to play out.
No.
The way that's going to play out is a whole bunch of people, a whole bunch of millennials and Gen Zers, when they start having kids, are going to, assuming this goes through. I don't think it will, but let's just assume it does. What's going to happen is a whole bunch of millennials and Gen Zers are going to start having kids. They're going to take advantage of this new government program and take a whole bunch of money on their Social Security. And then, because they're not working, they're not making money, and there's going to be a crisis down the road where it's like, oh my gosh, we suddenly don't have any more Social Security money, so we need another government program to fill the gap. Like that. Yes, that's exactly how this works every time. Why people? So
what will solve the government issue? More government.
More what?
She said more government.
What will solve the government issue? More government.
Yes, more government. Yes, more government, more money. And of course, the originator of that is really Ivanka, because she's been carrying that torch kind of since the Donald got elected.
Mm-hmm.
So, anywho, but that's one long example of how the Republicans they don't really believe their own rhetoric. I guess another fine example is the fact that they'll cut taxes, but then they'll forget to also cut spending, and then deficits go up. It's like you kind of need to do both. Would be awesome. Not cut taxes and increase spending. Thank you. But anyway, okay. So, being a centrist, let's pick an issue.
All right.
And I think that's maybe how we'll go about this, Sam. We'll here's an issue. What y'all think about it?
All right.
An example, foreign policy. Specifically, let's do specifically Syria, since foreign policy is kind of a broad umbrella.
All right.
Where would you come down on, say, U.S. involvement in Syria?
That's a hard one.
Yes, it is. I probably should pick an easier one.
I do think we need to do something about Assad because he's basically terrorizing his own citizens.
True.
And I think Tulsi Gabbard, the Democrat who's been trying to come to his defense, has kind of pushed me more towards supporting his ouster.
She's the one in Hawaii, correct?
Yes.
Now, I find it interesting because I know at least some in like the progressive wing of libertarians kind of liked her because she's anti-war.
Okay.
At least that's what I've been hearing. But then she's advocating for the ouster of Assad, which I find fascinating. I think that example right there goes to show what a tangled mess Syria is, and how easy it is to come down on any particular side of that. Because I don't know, I guess there's been, and this is a question for both of you, especially since you're both, you're both a good 10 years younger than me or more. Certainly in Krystle's case more. There's been a long-standing debate when it comes to U.S. foreign policy about when we should intervene. Do we intervene for humanitarian reasons, kind of like what you were suggesting, Sam, with he's terrorizing his own citizens? Somebody should do something about that. Or intervene only for national security interests, which would be the argument for which would be the argument for an intervention in Iran, for example, to stop them from building a nuclear weapon. Or on the other end of it is just, you know what? Y'all have fun playing amongst yourselves. Kind of go back to pre-World War II era where the Ron Paul vision of foreign policy, with basically we'll trade with you or we'll not trade with you. If you come knocking on our door, we'll make you wish you did.
Yeah.
But otherwise, y'all have fun killing each other out there. We'll be in here eating ice cream. So I don't know. Krystle, you've been quiet. What would you say about that? What version of American foreign policy would you kind of lean towards?
Honestly, I'm kind of like, I wish you would pick like build a wall or something like that.
We can get to that later, actually. I think we should get to that.
But what I mean is, you literally picked the one issue. I have no idea where I land on.
Fair enough.
Pick the one because it's because I hear both sides, and it's like both sides make sense. It's like, do you get involved or do you not get involved? Do we keep more isolated, or do we get involved again for humanitarian reasons? I know for sure no war is the best option, but then I don't know what it is. There's whenever this issue comes up, my mind kind of goes to because there's the, what did you say, Rand Paul position or idea of no involvement other than trading.
Right.
And it's I've heard of that argument before, but I've also heard some people use that argument with say okay, if we were in the, I mean, I know Syria's not at all the same caliber. But say, okay, if it was World War II, would you say get involved or not get involved? Would you be isolationist, or would you say get involved for humanitarian reasons? In the case of World War II, I'd be yeah, get involved, because that's genocide. It's huge and involves multiple countries. This is a big deal. So in that case, it was okay, yeah, get involved. But in the case of Syria, it's I'm honestly not sure. There's pros and cons to both.
Okay.
But as you also look at other times where the government has gotten involved in other countries, like regime change and whatnot, it's not necessarily turned out better either. Chile, for example.
Yeah, Libya is perhaps the most obvious example of that in recent memory. But you can certainly find other negative examples of that going back a very long ways.
Yeah.
Libya is just the latest on a long line of oops.
Libya's the latest. If you want to look at an example from like Nixon, there's Chile.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like, so I don't know, man. You pick the one issue, I have no idea where I land on, because it's like, honestly, you're kind of screwed no matter what you pick.
Yeah.
I think honestly that is maybe the best answer. But before I opine further, Sam, what about you?
I think that the con of staying in Syria is that we'd be dragging out another war. You know, this civil war there has been going on for 7 years, I think. 7 or 8 years.
Sure, 7 years. I like it.
And I guess if we stay there, we'll just be dragging out the war for another decade. I mean, look at how long we've been in Afghanistan. We've been there.
We've been there for a very long time.
15 years, right? Maybe more.
I think maybe more. I forget well, I mean, we went there right after 9/11.
Yeah.
We went there, I think it was 2000. We didn't get there right away, but I think it was 2002 that we went there.
Yeah, and I think that
we might have even gotten there by the end of 2001. So
yeah.
We're coming up on 20 years.
Yeah. So and isn't that considered our longest war?
Yeah. It's utterly ridiculous. And there's not a clear enemy.
No. I mean, we've got the Taliban, Al Qaeda, ISIS.
Right, right. Well, and the Taliban now is pretty much the only thing it has in common with the Taliban of old is the freaking name.
Yeah.
and they ain't fun people. But
no.
You know, this is not the same organization that we defeated, like, as soon as we showed up, basically. This is a very different organization, but of the same name.
Another thing too, and Sam, I'd be curious to get your thoughts on this too, that I just thought of. Other people have pointed out too, say we pull out now, how do you pull out without it being a case of like, okay, yeah, so I know we kind of caused this mess, but we're gonna go. You have fun cleaning this up. We're just gonna, yeah. So that's another issue too. Is how would you pull out if you were?
That's the biggest problem when you go in with open-ended goals. Is we're gonna go and we're gonna build you a democratic government. Okay, so or a republic like ours. Okay, that's fantastic. Except how do you do that exactly?
Yeah, I mean, we tried to do it with Iraq, we tried to do it with Afghanistan, and those both failed.
Yeah, it's not the first time we've tried to do stuff like that before as well, and it just doesn't work out well. If it's essentially a brand new system of government to people, not just the Arabs, but anybody. If you're introducing a brand new system of government to somebody, and it's like, okay, you get to make all your own decisions now. Wait, we've never ever been able to do that before. How does this work? Exactly. Yeah, you do that anywhere that hasn't developed its own version of that system of government. It's probably not going to play out the way you want.
No.
Isn't. These systems did not just get delivered from on high. They developed slowly over time, organically. Just import it whole cloth anywhere is just not going to work.
Yeah, that's the biggest issue. It's not just the fact that there's a change. It's the fact that it's a change not made by them, and done so quickly and harshly. So it's like you're in shock because it's like, what's going on?
Right. See, I mean, I think now especially everybody recognizes the goals of the Bush administration should have been smash the Taliban, the Taliban, and get Bin Laden and leave. Bye-bye. Because honestly, I think ultimately there's three good options, especially in places like this where there aren't really any good guys. It's, you either go the Ron and Rand Paul route and just, you know what, y'all have fun. Let us know when you got something you want to sell. There's just go in and just take over all of it and essentially rule it with an iron fist to keep the order. You can do that. That's essentially what the dictators there do. That's what Hussein did. He ruled with an iron fist and kept some semblance of order in Iraq. He was a horrible individual, a horrible dictator. Wouldn't want to piss him off. But it wasn't chaos, like it has been ever since. 3, you adopt a containment policy, which seems to be what we've fallen into with Syria, which is essentially, okay, Assad, here's your box. You do whatever you want inside that box. Now, if you push on the edges of that box, I'm not going to drop a Moab on you. And then you go back in the box. Or I drop another Moab. That seems to be the policy that we've pretty much adopted, at least as far as Syria goes. And I personally think the containment policy is the best compromise, I would say, of the 3. You don't get heavy involvement. You're not there with boots on the ground for an open-ended period of time. You don't just let horrible people get away with whatever they want. And you don't have to become the horrible person yourself. That said, it's something that has to be carried off. It is open-ended. That's the downside of it. It's the downside of the containment policy is that how long do you do that for? As long as I need to, I guess. I don't know. So it's not a perfect option. I don't think there are perfect options. Not that at least help us to be able to sleep well at night. So, going on to a more local issue, bringing it back to home, so to speak, is Krystle brought up the wall, the border. Immigration. I think immigration is a really good one where you can find a centrist position on it that that doesn't completely compromise. That doesn't compromise stuff from both sides, but also is guaranteed to piss off both sides. So, Sam, position on immigration. Hit us. What's a centrist position look like on immigration?
Well, I believe that we should have some sort of barrier at the border, whether it's the wall or something else. We need to have something there to keep people from coming in or thinking they can just come in and be handed free stuff just
Nazi.
for
Nazi.
Yeah.
You horrible person, you.
I know that sounds like more of the right-wing view on it. Yeah.
Right. But okay. But I imagine there's a but.
But yeah. It's kind of hard for me to think of what the but could be.
Okay.
I mean, I do think if a person crosses the border illegally and is looking for asylum, my personal opinion on it is that they should be granted asylum.
What would you consider valid grounds for claiming asylum?
If your life is in danger.
Okay.
Like if you've criticized your government and they've threatened to arrest you and you're able to get away.
Okay.
I think that would be one option.
Yeah, I mean, this political asylum. That's
yeah.
That's legitimate. I think that's essentially already covered under our asylum laws.
Yeah.
Now the rub is how do you go about verifying that?
Yeah.
Or do you just take someone's word for it?
Yeah.
Because I would say the thing is, if someone has a legitimate asylum case, they go to a legal point of entry.
Yeah, that's true.
And present their case. Whereas somebody is crossing wherever, in all fairness, they may be misinformed. The coyotes, the human traffickers, they might be selling them a bill of goods and be like, "Oh yeah, you give us a bunch of money, we'll get you there." And then when they find you, just you got a legit case for asylum. Just say, "I'm claiming asylum," and you'll be fine. They may be misinformed. They may have a legitimate case and still crossing at an illegal point of entry, just because they've been misinformed. I'm willing to grant that.
Okay.
But that does still still beg the question, how do you verify it? And what do you do with them in the meantime while you're going about the business of verifying it?
I mean, you can't just let them wander around scot-free.
Which is exactly what we do.
Yeah, yeah.
That's one of the, unfortunately, that's the whole...
That's the downside.
That's the catch and release thing, right?
Yeah.
We document that we're here. We say, okay, you're going to have a hearing and stuff at such and such a date or at some point to be determined in the future. Check in with us later and have fun in the meantime. And although I will say, Shapiro actually, he talked about that how many people actually do show up for the hearings. And it's actually surprisingly a high number. It was like 60% actually show up for their hearings.
Wow.
This was months ago. The situation at the border has gotten much worse since then. So it might, that number may have actually dropped. But at the time when Shapiro was talking about and he himself said, I'm actually surprised. I expected it to be way different. But yeah, 60% actually show up for their hearings, but that still leaves 40% that aren't doing that. And I don't know if that's just. I don't think that's just asylum seekers. I think that's everyone crossing illegally.
Mm-hmm.
That's not everyone claiming asylum. I'm sure the numbers for people, if you break it down to people just claiming asylum, I'm sure it's different. But something a little more difficult is the dreamers, the DACA people, the people that have been here for, they might have been brought here when they were 12, but now they're like 25. And now it's like, okay, well, you were here legally, not your fault. Okay, I grant. Or people that, were born here, the people who crossed illegally, and now they're, of an adult age. That seems to me maybe the single trickiest issue of the whole immigration thing, other than how do you detain and process like families that come across the border? Those are the two issues that I think are legitimately difficult. The latter, I just don't think there is a good answer. You have to detain them while you're processing them.
Yeah.
They're essentially in a jail. Yeah, you know what? That kind of sucks, but don't bring your kids across a border illegally. Where we're going to put you is way better than where Mexico or Guatemala or like on the other end of the spectrum, Turkey is going to put you. Trust me, it's going to be better. But when it comes to the dreamers, this is one where I'm honestly open to suggestions, because it's another one where I don't think there's a great answer. So I don't know how much have you guys thought about this one.
Well,
I mean, on one hand, you can go, okay, they didn't come here on their own. They didn't come here by their choice. And we're just going to, for the sake of argument, we're going to say everybody who claims to be a dreamer is legitimately a dreamer. They were brought here against their will. They were born here by parents who well, not against their will, but their parents brought them, and when they were kids, they were born here to parents who came here legally. Let's just assume all of that is that every single one person claiming this is in fact that situation. So at the same time, it's not their fault. Okay, so you don't want to just deport them necessarily because they themselves didn't do anything wrong.
And for most of their lives, like, they're familiarized with the USA. They have no idea what they're going back to, unlike their parents.
Right, and and that's fair to say. This is their country much more than say Mexico is, or Honduras, or Ecuador, or wherever they're coming from. On the other hand, if you just grant them blanket amnesty, you are creating an incentive for people to keep crossing illegally, and you're essentially saying, yeah, go ahead, so long as you can get away with it and hang out here long enough, it'll all be fine. Because we also have a thing where we really like, and this speaks to the generosity and compassion of American society in general, we actually like doing family reunification. We don't want families to be separated from one another.
Yeah, that's the biggest issue that comes down to me, because I'm a big believer in the whole don't reward bad behavior.
Mm-hmm.
So,
right.
Like, if you break the law, I'm not gonna reward you by like not really doing anything about that. But at the same time, it's one of those tough issues, because it's like, well, okay, I don't want to split up your family, but your Alba did bring you over here, or your Nana, or whatever other name from any other country, your Baksha, or your wherever, brought you here illegally from Poland or Mexico or Canada or Turkey or anywhere. And like, now it's the thing of like, well, the dreamer is most familiar with this country. Are we really gonna send their like 80-year-old grandma back to wherever they came from?
Right. Especially if they have in fact been haven't broken any other laws in the time that they've been.
Yeah, that too. I was gonna bring up too. Like, okay, also there's also the factor of like, okay, are we? Yeah, they did break one glaringly big law, but at the same time, how have they lived within the U.S.?
Right.
Have they broken any other laws other than the big glaring one, or have they been a like contributive member of society? Right. And it's one of those really it honestly, not as I'm discussing that out loud, it almost seems like one of those situations where you have to take it by a case basis.
I think that is accurate as far as it goes. Sam, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with her that on the case-by-case basis.
Right. I almost think, of course, when you talk about dealing with millions, you kind of need a blanket approach.
Yes.
Just for expedience. Now,
I think
so long as they've been 100% law-abiding otherwise. In this, well, actually, when it comes to specifically dreamers, only the kids that were brought over here. If they're of adult age, as far as I'm concerned, they get the option to stick around. I think their parents back in the bus, yo.
Yeah, the parents are another story.
Well, exactly. And is that harsh? Yes, it is. But like you said, let's not go about rewarding bad behavior. Now, what does back at the bus look like? Does it mean get on the bus and get your butt back across the border? Maybe. Maybe that is one of those things where you break it down a little bit and be like, okay, yeah, like Krystle, you mentioned 80. You're 80 years old. All right, you know what? You can hang out. You can hang out for the next 5 years. you know,
I think
or
I think another thing has to be
what's that?
another thing too that has to be recognized. Another thing too that has to be recognized is that because there's so many cases and you can't go case by case with each and every one, I think people do have to acknowledge that unfortunately a lot of people are gonna get effed over in this situation.
Yeah, see, there's always whatever you do, unless you just grant blanket amnesty, which is a horrible idea, because it's just going to encourage even more crossings. And right now, we are having crossings at the border at a literally unprecedented level. More are crossing like on a month-to-month basis than we have ever had a crossing into this country before in our, not just in our lives, in freaking history, at least as long as we've been keeping track of it. So, yeah, this is not a good thing, and just blanket amnesty will make it way worse, especially since I guarantee you, as soon as the Maduro regime finishes crumbling in Venezuela, there are going to be tons of people coming from there.
Oh yeah.
And
this
honestly, it's likely to create a cascading effect, because most likely they're not just going to all go en masse from Venezuela up to here. No, well, I mean, that would be a mess too. They're certainly not all going to stay there. They're going to spread out into the surrounding areas, and it's going to stress all the economies of all the other countries in the surrounding region. And you're going to wind up getting people from Venezuela, from Colombia, from Peru, wherever. Every country. I don't think Peru borders Venezuela.
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. I'm rusty on my South American geography, but basically, any country that borders Venezuela is going to wind up having a lot of issues, and there's going to be a lot of people that wind up hopping on these little caravans and coming up our way. That's going to happen. And it's really going to happen if we just grant a blanket amnesty.
Yeah.
That's where you get right into rewarding. If you reward bad behavior, you get more of it. It's just that simple. That said, again, dreamers themselves is an issue where it's easy to be to try to strike a middle position. As far as mass amounts of illegal, I don't think so. It's like no. You're either advocating for open borders, or it's like no, we need to secure them. I don't think there's a middle ground there. Not really.
The middle ground comes in when you get down to the nitty-gritty details, which for some reason most people don't want to get into conversation about, because like if you look at one thing libertarians have pointed out is that, and this is libertarians on both sides of like more secure or less secure, is the issue of private property where the border is. Like when you get the nitty-gritty details of that stuff, then you start like getting more like centrist and like some aspects and more. But it's like no one in the mainstream seems to want to have that conversation other than open borders. Now I'm gonna build the wall. It's like, guys, that's not how the real world works.
Right. No,
that's what I okay.
Yeah.
So,
I'm fundamentally against the whole eminent domain thing. That's actually maybe the single worst thing in our Constitution. And it's actually the only thing in the Constitution I can think of that I actually hate. And I think it's a terrible thing. And especially the way that it got broadened. I can't remember when the decision was, but it was either late Bush or early Obama that they basically broadened the definition of eminent domain to say that, well, if we take your land and we give it to this corporation over here, that's going to bring in a lot more tax dollars to the area, and that's going to help everybody. So you give up your farm. No, that's not the way that's supposed to work. It's supposed to be like for like major projects like building dams and stuff, or national security purposes, like building a wall. I was having a discussion with one of my cousins about this a week ago, And my simple solution, as far as that goes, is, you know what? We want to build us a wall. You get the rangers or whatever, whoever's got property on there together. We're going to offer you twice market value. And you know, if you sell it to us, we're going to build a wall. Here's what it's going to look like. If you don't want it, that's fine. Understand, they're all coming across your land now. If they're not already, they're going to be doing it now. And if they are already, there's going to be more. Just so you know what you're getting into. Are we good? We're good. Okay. You know, that would be the way I would do it. If you know, if I could be dictator for a day, that's what I would do. But now, beyond just you know, taking different positions on issues, Sam, just even saying you're a centrist opens yourself up to vitriol, if you will. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, what's your, like? How do people react when you say you're? It's like, look, I'm a centrist. I'm not on your side. I'm not on their side. I'm on. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to figure out the truth of stuff on any given issue. And sometimes they're going to be on your side with this issue. Sometimes they're going to be on your side with that issue over there. So what kind of responses do you get whenever this comes up?
Well, I haven't really had very many, what is the word I'm looking for? I haven't really had very many conversations where that comes up, where I have to explain why I'm a centrist but to the people who lash out at you for looking at either side, I don't know why they have an issue with that.
Right. Well, you know, people tend to. We're very tribal now, as you all.
Yeah. That's one reason I don't label myself conservative or liberal anymore, is because but both sides can be very tribal.
Mm-hmm. This is very true. This is very true, and it's not getting better. That's for dang sure.
Yeah, I mean, and if you're a conservative and you kind of break away from the status quo and you say that you support something that could be considered liberal, then you'll be accused of being a rhino or just being a shill.
You cuck.
Yeah, a cuck.
Yeah. Okay, give me an example of when that's happened with you.
I don't think I really have an example of when that's happened to me.
Okay.
But I think someone who would be a good example of that would be Tomi Lahren.
Okay.
You know, she kind of upset her conservative fan base by saying that she wasn't 100% against abortion.
She basically said she was pro-choice, man.
Yeah, she said she was pro-choice. That's
and she called pro-life conservatives hypocrites.
Oh, okay.
Advocate. Yeah. She did a little bit more than just voice.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Went hard and that. And before we continue, Ginger Cole is asking if he can join in.
Oh heck, why not?
Oh, cool.
No, we can have Cole in. Why not?
Yeah, I think.
Do you have the ability to send him the link, Krystle?
Huh?
Do you have the ability to send him the link here? Wait, Neo, I got it.
Okay.
Here, I'll just drop it into the big DM room here, and wrong link. So, for those who don't know, Cole's another part of our DM room, and he's about Krystle's age, a young lad. Well, a young lad of many talents. So Cole, come on in. If you see the link in the DM room there, buddy.
This will be cool.
I don't think he's in the DM room.
We're gonna make it a party.
Yeah.
Gender, I don't think he's in the DM group anymore.
Ginny added it back.
Oh yeah,
okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. For those who don't know, Ginny is Tiki who cooks on Twitter, and
she's amazing.
She's sort of like I would say Ginny is like the mama of the group.
Jill could be the mom of the group too.
Jill could also, yes. Well, we're gonna make Ginny the mama, and Jill could be the aunt.
Yeah, that's
or
awesome.
aunt if you prefer. Jill, I hope you're cool with that.
And Jason is the yeah. Did I say Jason?
You said Jason. You mean Justin?
Jacob. Justin. Justin is the crazy uncle.
Yeah. Yes. Justin, I hope you heard that. All right. Well, hey, I hope Cole gets the link. I think Ginny added him. Did he DM you directly, Krystle?
No, he's in the live chat.
Oh.
Well, Cole, if you want to get in on the hangout, man, go to the DM room, and I posted a link there. You should be able to click on it and hop right in.
Yeah, and also a quick shout out to Dale who tuned in and Amos Joseph. I think I said your name right. I could be wrong.
Amos sounds correct.
Yeah.
But so you've certainly seen it, and I know I've seen it where people aren't allowed to deviate from the line, and a lot of it depends. A lot of deviation from the line depends on exactly which circles you're running in.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've deviated from the line amongst like hardcore Trumpy circles.
Yeah, and, I have to. Right away the cucks start flying, man. It's people that I don't think they know this. I don't think that some of the people in question have put together that me and the person they've called the cuck online are the same person. And but these are people that I spoke with. I know they're intelligent people. They just are like hardcore on this particular line of thinking, and I will call it a lot of thinking because they have rational reasons for why they're so hardcore down a particular line. Usually there aren't many people who just completely unthinkingly join the Trump cult. They just they have reasons why they're so supportive.
Yeah,
and a lot of times and you'll
find them in a lot of groups too, like in the right. I'll say right wing, because it's like that encompasses like conservatives and Republicans and whatnot. Like you'll find the hardcore Trumpers, you'll find the numbers, you'll find these people, you'll find them, and then you'll find the same thing on the left. You'll find the FJWs, you'll find this, you'll find that. You'll find a lot of people who go hardcore for whatever they're thinking, and it's like, you need to chill.
Yeah, right now I think it's interesting. The left is definitely doing more public eating of itself than what people on the right are, but every group has got infighting. That's for dang sure. Libertarians take it as a matter of pride that they have infighting.
Actually,
we're adding votes, and you're gonna like it, and don't you dare get in the way of my liberty to choke him out. All right.
Yeah, and
I'm gonna adopt Paulian foreign policy here, and I'm just gonna sit back and watch.
Yeah, and funnily enough, the other day I saw because you guys know MJ on Twitter. MJ is a wizard.
Morgan is a wizard?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know her.
Yeah. She was kind of I don't know how to word it, because she wasn't like going in, but she did kind of get spicy about something Mac tweeted. and someone like made a comment to her about like how like, oh wow, libertarians always infighting or something like that, and she's like, libertarians are always fighting because they're not. How she worded it? She basically worded it as like they don't have like a base thing that they all fully agree on. Like the base thing they fully agree on is liberty for all and don't tread on me. That's it.
Right. Everybody's
and
kind of got their own ideas of exactly what that means.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, and someone responded to her like, oh, I never actually thought that before. That makes sense. And I was thinking the same thing of like, oh wow, yeah, that does make sense. There really isn't like concrete thing connecting all libertarians other than I'm for liberty, don't tread on me, or else I'll kick your ass.
Yes,
that's
exactly.
all we got.
I think most libertarians can agree though that they don't like Caitlin Bennett.
Yeah,
who exactly
like fan? I'm serious. Really?
What was that?
Who are her fans?
Huh?
I have no clue.
Honestly, like Caitlin Bennett is one of those like things where everyone keeps like complaining about Caitlin Bennett, and I'm just sitting over here thinking she wouldn't be a thing if you kept giving her attention.
I like making jokes about her though, because she's so much fun. She's so easy to joke about.
I know she's the libertarian AOC.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
I went there. Every group has one. She's the one. She's the one there. And honestly, I actually apologize to all my libertarian friends because I really don't want to associate Caitlin Bennett with you at all. I don't. I'm sorry. I just think it's what she claims. So I'm sorry.
I actually didn't know that. I associate Caitlin Bennett with Caitlin Bennett because I don't really associate her with anything else.
That's fair. That's fair. I know she's hung out with Alex Jones and.
Well, she works for InfoWars.
That's right.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, she does.
Yeah.
Yeah, she works for InfoWars.
Okay.
She's been reporting for them.
Reporting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that a
reporting?
Was that just a picture of her with an AR in different locations?
Sure.
The funny thing is,
yeah.
You guys remember how she first kind of became a thing?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Yeah. Taking the photos on the college what college did she go to?
I don't know.
I don't remember.
But yeah, taking photos on the college she went to with the AR slinged over her shoulder.
Which, that started out with some other girl who was at college, and she got her college photo picture taken with.
Yeah.
He had like a small little, like compact handgun, and she was like, "Well, I'm gonna one up this." and nobody knows who the original girl is who started that.
No, I know. I want to say, I don't know her name, but I want to say it might have been the woman who did the college graduation picture wearing a Women for Trump shirt and carrying.
Yeah, I think it was.
Okay.
I think it was.
Yeah.
You're probably right.
Wasn't she blonde?
She was.
Yeah.
Yes, for the record, she was actually considerably more attractive than Caitlin Bennett.
Yes. Oh, there's
Cole.
Hey, Cole.
No, it's a party. What's going on, man?
Oh, nothing much.
Yeah, so we're about out of time here. Cole, brother. All right. So what do you have to contribute to our merry little band here today? I don't hear you, man.
I think his camera shut off.
I think, Cole, man, did you freeze? Nope.
You're moving a little bit.
There he is.
Technical difficulties.
There you are.
Hmm.
Oh, you're roboting.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello?
I hear you. Now I hear you. All right. Cole.
It's probably my internet. I don't have the greatest of internet in the world.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Cole, in case you do trip out on us, I want you to tell the story. You actually met President Trump.
Not really. I actually
meet him, kind of.
Oh yeah, the picture.
Well, I sent him a letter 2 years ago whenever I was in like a year and a half ago in school, and I got the letter back, and he gave me his signature and everything. That I got the letter back from him, so I thought it was cool.
That is very cool. Didn't you at a rally or something?
No, I wasn't at a rally. I did you remember the Flight 93 memorial, right?
Okay, yeah.
Well, he was there at the Flight 93 memorial, and I went there the one time.
Oh, okay.
So
that's pretty cool.
So I went there whenever it was at Flight 93, and the only thing the media was complaining during that time was whenever he got off the plane and he made just a face that the media tried to make him look bad and everything. Of course. So and he was waving at his supporters, and I actually waved at him, and he waved back. I thought that was cool.
That is cool.
Nice.
I've never had a president wave at me. Even
have I?
Believe it or not, my dad hasn't been to any he hasn't met a president in person. Been to he never met a president in person. Trump, whenever he went to go see Trump at the Flight 90 service, that's the first time my father ever seen someone in person. That's the plenty. Why I've seen now.
Cole, you're breaking up a lot, man.
Everyone quiet.
You were roboting all over the place, man.
Yeah.
And my internet's not the greatest. Sorry about that.
No, you're coming through a little bit better now.
So, yeah, just sorry about that. It's just internet sucks.
We've all been there. I actually discovered I have to turn. I probably shouldn't say this, but I have to turn off my VPN actually to do this, because otherwise it slows down my connection so much that.
Oh man.
Yeah. Remember when I was
actually directed.
What's that?
Go on. I'm hooked in internet into.
Did we lose him?
So you think it would be faster? No, I'm still here. I'm sorry.
I think it's something having to do with the way Cole's internet is set up and configured.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm into the internet.
I'm curious. Are you hearing us all right? Are we coming through good for you?
Yeah.
Okay. So that at least is good. So, Cole, you've clearly been watching the show thus far, and I would say out of our group, you're probably the most all in on Trump of our little merry band. What?
Pretty much.
I don't know, but I've also never seen you go after anybody for not being all in on Trump. And we've also had people. We've had people in the past who are on the other end of the spectrum who were very much not Trump. And well, just based on this little anecdote, I would say definitely you've handled people of differing opinions in much better fashion.
Yeah.
I'm starting to get off of politics because it's just really depressing, in my opinion. It's just too depressing, so I decided to make a Pug account. So I'm just gonna get off of politics for a while because it's just too depressing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. In all honesty, that's something that I think anyone who's paying attention to politics, anyone who, especially doing politics on social media, has got to be really careful of. If you go too all in on this, you're going to either become a cultist, essentially. It's gonna just drive your blood pressure crazy, and you're going to have a heart attack at 23.
Yeah.
Well, I'm more libertarian myself.
Okay.
But I do find the thing is, I do find both parties bad. I find everything that they do pretty bad, but I just find Trump's views more of my type because he stands everything for this country, in my opinion. Like he stands for America, so that's why I back Trump.
Right.
Like the thing is, I don't want to have open borders in this country. I know the Democrats are trying to push that, and they also are trying to push for pro-choice. But I'm pro-life. Like I'm trying to do scientific facts. Like even if I wasn't pro-life, I want to look at the science to see which one's immorally wrong and morally right. So whenever I look at that, you gotta realize that it's murder. You can't say that a baby with a heartbeat, like a heartbeat, isn't a life. So I decided that that's just my path of viewing is to be pro-life. And I also find Trump's view on the wall, like I don't have opinion on the wall, but I think it's better than open borders in my opinion.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that, Cole?
I think that a wall is better than open borders. I don't support the wall, but at the same time, I'm not against it.
Okay, Cole, you're breaking up a lot again. It's it was actually really hard to understand that last little bit. What's that?
I'll go then, so I can let you guys talk.
Cole, you're breaking up a lot. I'm gonna kind of I'm gonna push on just a little bit here. Now, what I kind of alluded to when I was talking to Cole about different ways that different ends of the political spectrum tend to handle things, and I'm not saying that the right is by any means free of guilt here, but I don't know. Sam, what have you seen more? And I want an honest answer here, of course. What have you seen more? What side have you seen more backlash from? Not necessarily directed at you, but in general, when it comes to dissenting opinions, whether it's left or right or.
I would have to say, at least for me, I've seen an equal amount of backlash on both the left and right.
Okay. Now, is there a particular issue that, like, say, the right tends to get upset over that you've noticed?
I don't know if I would say upset, but I know that the right is very passionate about the Second Amendment.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, and I'm a Second Amendment supporter, so I can honestly see where they're coming from.
Right. I guess by upset, I mean like
angry.
How dare you say that?
Yeah.
How dare you say that thing that doesn't 100% line up with me?
Yeah. Well, that's hard. I don't.
Go ahead, Krystle.
I'm gonna have to say that I think Sam's on it about the Second Amendment. It's really hard to pick, but if you had to pick one, I feel like Second Amendment is closest to what you're describing.
Probably, in all honesty, because you do find on the right side of the aisle different opinions on exactly what should be done with immigration. I think there is a lot more.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, go ahead.
What about? I still don't think they go to the same extent as the left does with their issues, but I could be wrong. What about the issue of the Christian baker?
Oh yeah, that was.
I don't think that's the same kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay. That was the only one I can think of where they probably get more passionate than the other side.
That's one where people got angry about the issue, but not with different takes on the issue. So long as you were as long as you weren't on the side of bake the cake bigot.
Yeah.
Pretty much okay.
I think one thing that the right probably had a lot of backlash against was the transgenders in the bathroom thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But I mean a little bit more like when someone on their side voices something that's a little.
Oh, I see what you mean.
You know, okay. Just as an example, you brought up the Second Amendment. Let's go with that. Someone's like, I'm a Second Amendment supporter, but I'm in favor of banning high capacity magazines.
Yeah, that would be one of my views. Is I'm a Second Amendment supporter, but I think there are certain guns that the public doesn't need to own.
Okay. There. Okay. So have you in fact voiced that opinion online before, or are you just coming out as a cuck right now?
I have voiced that opinion online before, but I never got any backlash as far as I can remember.
Okay. All right. So I think the answer. Yeah. Go ahead.
I think the other one that would be closest is probably abortion.
Yes. I would definitely say if there is any issue, it would be that one, and I think it's the one issue where you're justified to be like, oh hell no. But even then, I think you don't get too much of it. I don't think you get a lot of oh hell no, only because it's a different group of people that tends to be pro-life in the first place.
Yeah,
it's a fundamentally religious set, and most people who are pro-life understand this is a fight that's been going on for 40 plus years now. You know that.
Is it all right if I
go ahead, Cole?
Say something. I just noticed that just the things that they call us bigots and everything, they call us conservatives bigots and everything. But the thing is, we can't even call a man a woman. We can't even call a man a man. Like if they were calling themselves transgender. In fact, I believe in New York, if you were to call Bruce Jenner, you'll get fined like thousands of dollars, if I'm correct.
Syria.
So it's just an amount of like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's kind of like a good example on the left of what I'm talking about. And Cole, you kind of went right in the direction that I wanted to go, and that was the very recent example. For International Women's Day, the actress Deborah Messing made vagina cupcakes.
Ew.
Can't make this up. I don't think they were made of actual vaginas. They were just made in the shape of vaginas.
Oh, I saw the picture. Yeah,
she didn't do this in conjunction with Hannibal Lecter. It was, right.
They were my worst nightmare.
Oh, gosh. And anyway, so she made these, posted it on Instagram or whatever. And right away, she gets attacked for being a transphobe because not all women have vaginas. That's the craziness that I'm talking about.
Okay, so they're going against themselves this time.
I think the left has got the market cornered on that particular kind of crazy, and we will in fact eat our own for offenses that we just make up out of the freaking ego.
Yeah, because I feel like you'd have to look into the fringe of the fringe to find that on the right. Because it is there. They are there.
I'm sure somewhere on Gab you can find somebody going, that is not an accurate representation of Pepe the Frog.
I think you don't really easily find it so much, probably because you have a lot more people going, dude, what the hell? You need to chill.
Yeah, I think so, and I think that is the biggest thing. Clavin makes this point a lot, where it's like, you know what? Yes, the right has its fringe, but but the fringe on the right is found in the comment section of Breitbart or on Gab.
I dislike Breitbart,
except for you, Cole. The the fringe on the left is in Congress.
Yeah, in the form of AOC.
Boom. Yes.
Oh.
You know, and all of the other, you know, and not all of the other freshman class, but you know, there's a fair number of the freshman class that have gained notoriety for being whack jobs. And and ultimately, right. And and you know, some have tried to make the point that, you know, there's other members of the Democrat freshman class that aren't getting all these headlines, that aren't, you know, they're nice moderates and everything. No, they're not. They're just not as, they're either not as photogenic or they're not as outspoken. But guess who they're voting with? You know, they're voting more with the left wing of the party, from what I understand. Happy to be proven wrong. And it just goes to show that they're getting, not just in bits and pieces, in pockets, they're getting farther and farther and farther left. I would say that the right is, I don't know if you could say that the right is getting farther and farther right, because the principles really haven't changed. I would say the right is, at least elements like the Daily Wire crowd, is getting more forceful and articulate in making the case. I would say that. I would say that the case is being made better in some places than it has been in the past. At least in my memory and the time that I've spent paying attention to politics.
Yeah. Is it okay if I could say something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
I kind of want to get everyone's opinion. I know probably most of you guys dislike all news outlets, but which one do you really trust the most? Like, which one do you really trust the most? In my opinion, I like Daily Wire. I get that a lot. I like Daily Wire, in my opinion. I would say
as a news outlet as a whole, I would say the Daily Wire is pretty good. I also, on the Blaze for news, I really like Steve Deace. He doesn't sugarcoat things, and he spends a bit more time going more in depth, and than even the Daily Wire will often do. The Daily Wire, for the most part, it follows whatever is grabbing the headlines today. It doesn't. They usually don't go super in depth on an issue. Usually, I like their takes on whatever the headlines are. But there isn't a lot of real in-depth, here's this bill, here's what's going on, unless that particular bill is in fact grabbing headlines. Another good place to go.
I noticed that they're more conservative, though.
What's that?
I noticed that they're kind of more conservative. Like they try to find the small things and make that bigger on the news.
Yeah. Oh yes. Like I said, I like the Daily Wire as a whole, as a news outlet. That's where I would go, especially to find out what's going on right now. What's going on in the headlines? What are some of the things that maybe the headlines are missing? I would definitely go there, especially when it comes to what the headlines are missing regarding cultural things. I would definitely go there. Like I said, on the Blaze, Steve Deace is really good. Daniel Horowitz, strongly recommend him. He's got a podcast, The Conservative Conscience. He goes in a lot of depth into certain bills and everything. Immigration, he's really been hitting that right now. Shannon Joy also is pretty good. She's regularly on Steve Deace's show, and I have a couple of issues with her because I think she skews a little literally nothing anyone can do is ever even close to good enough, and doesn't give any credit. Basically, yeah. But it's kind of a difference between the Fox News bar for approval is really, really low. Where here's the Fox News bar for getting approval. Here's the Shannon Joy bar. The stated principles are more. Yeah.
Speaking of which, our family, we like to watch Fox News, and then we do watch the NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt. You know what we call Lester? You know what we call Lester Holt? We call him Lion Lester.
You should probably submit that to Trump on Twitter. He'd probably take that He'd probably take But Sam has the centrist in the primary
insult.
I like it as the primary focus of the episode here. What are the news sources you would go to?
I just read whatever I find. I really don't have a preference for a certain outlet.
What are give me the last three that you've looked at, whether podcast, article, or whatever.
I think the last articles that I read were on Yahoo.
Okay, fair enough.
And none of them were they were just like.
As long as it's not BuzzFeed.
I don't read BuzzFeed now.
If you've got to know how to bleach your butthole, that's the place to go. Just
well,
it's just like, oh, why did I come back?
It is time for my annual.
Now. I think I need to go back on another road trip. Bye, y'all. Bye. I was down till bleach butthole came up, and then I was like, nope, I'm out.
I think I'm gonna make it an official goal to make Krystle cringe every single episode.
Yes.
Oh no.
Hey,
it's time for our annual butthole bleachings.
Yay! You got your funnel and you got your bleach.
Oh.
Oh.
Yes.
A butthole catheter.
Oh God.
Oh.
All right. Well, hey, this podcast is officially going off the rails.
Yes.
So, and actually, we are actually way over our normal time.
One last thing before I go is that speaking of which, I also call another insult we call lying Lester. We also call him Lester the molester.
I like it. It rhymes. It's good. We got alliteration and we got rhyming.
We really didn't cover much about centrism, did we?
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, we gave issues, and what is it like trying to be
centrist? Yeah.
I think we covered some ground there. When you're starting in the middle, it's easy to fall onto the side of butthole bleaching. So, and if you're on the fence, you might need to do that.
No.
Yeah.
I need to pick up the splitters.
9.
Yeah. All right.
9.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I think we're going to wrap it up here. So, again, you could follow the show at Fighting Void. You can follow Krystle at Krystle with three L's, or are they capital I's? I forget. Capital I, 3 capital I's at the end. I'm sorry. We got Cole at Lord Cole 51, and Sam is at Sam Slam Dunk I Am. And hey, next week we're planning on having Paige Rogers back.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we're going to be talking.
Probably I'll come back.
We're going to be talking about. We're going to be following up on the whole sex abuse stuff, and there was a meeting in the Vatican with the Pope and all the bishops and everything about a month ago now. So we're going to talk about that and what, if anything, has been done since. So tune in for that one if that is a subject that interests / depresses / angers you, and so yeah. Until then, keep fighting the good fight.
Bye.